So welcome everybody. We're going to be getting into couplers and trucks and weights. And I thought we'd let DC kick it off with what he's got for trucks and couplers, right, DC?
That sounds good. Do you want me to do both of them now or just one?
Yeah, just do the trucks right now.
Okay. Here we go. First of all, if anyone, Tom, what were you saying about if anyone?
Yeah, can you guys see the screen okay? You might have an option to hold your cursor over the screen and hold the left side down and then move it left and right like I'm able to.
I see it fine.
Okay, great.
Okay, cool, good. Okay, well, there are a lot of different trucks available if you're modeling HO scale. If you decide to stay with the Mantua Tyco trucks or the ones that come with your AHM, IHC, Bachmann cars, that's fine as well. However, if you go that route, I do recommend that you replace the wheels that come with those with metal wheels, and preferably metal wheels with metal axles. First company I wanted to talk about today was Bitter Creek, and this will be on my my blog post, but there is a way to just click directly to their site by clicking on that. At the moment, when you click on that, you'll get a notice that they're in the process of retooling. Please stand by. So Jeff's going through a lot of reworking of his masters and everything, because these are cast metal trucks. They're kind of a pewter. They're more flexible than some of the old, like BC was a company that made similar trucks, as well as Red Ball, and their metal castings were more brittle. So these, I had a whole series of cars that I didn't order the right wheels in them, and it was my mistake rather than Jeff's. So I had to go and change out all my wheels. So this, Jeff was kind enough to send me over. This is a couple of the pages of the different trucks that he offered. You can get them with or without wheels. You can, some people will send him code or Proto 88 wheels, the wheels with the narrower treads on them, and he will install your wheels in his side frames. He has also just sold me the side frames because I wanted to make my own truck bolsters. And so he's very flexible, nice guy to work with, very personable. This is from his old list, not the current one. And as you can tell, my scanner is beginning to go on my computer. So I guess after 20 years, it's about time. Tom sent me these photos, so I'm going to get a little bit closer look at what the Bitter Creek trucks would look like. Closer up, this is one type that Tom uses a lot in his railroad. Do you remember the model number of these trucks, Tom?
Not offhand. Yeah, but I will say though, what he also does, which is what I do, I send him the wheels I want in the trucks, and he will put them together, which is a huge saving of time and frustration for me. And his trucks, he said, will be available toward the end of March. So they'll be
target,
yeah.
Okay. Here's another example of his trucks. These are his T21s. This is somewhere on eBay, picked up 18 cast metal flat cars, and so I've used his T21 trucks underneath them. Another good manufacturer. Oh, one of the advantages of using the metal trucks is you have the weight centered over the wheels and low in the body of the car. So the cars perform better. Okay, you don't need as much weight in the car for the car to perform as well.
Hey, can I,
BTS.
before
What?
we get too far on, can I ask a quick question? You talk about having to assemble these trucks and putting the axles and wheel sets in there. Are they kits or are they already like a single casting?
Okay, these
that-
come ready built.
Okay.
Okay, now, thank you for asking that.
Mhm.
Jeff uses, oh shoot, what's his standard truck? Our standard wheel set.
Intermountain?
No, it's not Intermountain. It's, anyways, he uses a standard wheel set that's got a wider tread on it. And like Tom said, he likes the narrower tread, and so do I. And so I got some side frames like this, but I have done some narrow gauge box cars. And I actually have some Reeboks wheel sets that are like a 0.95 of inches, which is the shortest length of the axle that I've been able to find, was out there. And so I make my trucks a little narrower, and they still run as good because they are designed to run an HO scale track, but they look a little better under the cars. Just that 5/100th of an inch gives them a little bit better look, in my opinion.
I would agree with the semi-scale tread, but I guess where I was going with it is, are these one-piece castings like you would see on a standard HO plastic car, or are these three-piece castings that have to be assembled and it takes some time? And if you
You can buy them just like this, except the wheel tread would be thicker.
okay,
When you order a pair of trucks from him, they come just like that. You do not have to assemble them.
right? No, I mean I understand that, but I guess I'm trying to figure out why it's so difficult to just swap out a wheel set if it's. Because like when I do it on my HO standard gauge, modern day stuff, I tend to just pop them out and put them in. It takes me 2 minutes.
Well, with the old BC models, I actually had some of these trucks that were produced by BC models. They look very the same from the side, but the quality of the metal was such that I've broken more than one trying to do it apart. Now, with Jeff's castings, if I want to substitute my wheels in, I didn't break any of them. In 18 cars, I did not break one. So 18 cars, what's that, 30?
Yeah, 18 cars would be 36. Well, actually, time to be 72. But anyway, so it's more just because the metal tends to be a little more brittle than say the plastic that's a little more forgiving. Is that fair?
Well, with Jeff's trucks, I have not had a problem with breakage.
Okay.
Plastic is the most forgiving.
Sure.
Except if you go with a 3D printed one.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Because I would tend to go with the 88 treads. I try to do that on my more modern stuff, all of it itself. And so, of course, the smaller stuff, it would have to be 88 treads.
Okay. Now, if you wanted to order from Bitter Creek, George, what you can do is if you have a particular wheel set that you want him to use, okay, you can send him, first of all, check that he doesn't offer them that wheel set, but you can send him that wheel set and he will make trucks using your wheels.
Okay.
And the cool thing is they cost less than the trucks he sells.
Okay. Yeah, because he's not supplying the wheel sets. So
because he's not supplying the wheel sets. Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, thank you.
Okay. Another manufacturer of HO scale trucks is BTS. I've heard that as Bill's Train Store or Better Than Scratch. These are brass trucks. They're offered in several different styles. as you can see, like the Bitter Creek trucks, they put the weight low in the car, over the wheels for better tracking, better operation. They do come as kits that you have to assemble. I have not assembled any. These are stock photos from Bill's website, okay, that I'm showing you. Some people who have assembled them don't like them because you basically have to solder them together and screw them together, and it is a bunch of work.
It's also, you have to build a jig. I've built them.
You use them with the jig, Ron?
You have to build a jig because it's difficult to keep. If you don't keep the two sides parallel and square, you end up with a racked set of wheels.
Okay.
And so you can't do it freehand. You're not just going to set them down on a tabletop and freehand them. So I found out real quick that you have to build a little jig that will keep them square while you solder them.
Okay. That would be cool for a future presentation to the group, Ron, to show how you do that. I know I would benefit from that because I haven't attempted these yet, the ones I have. But the top ones here.
That's why I like the Bitter Creek better.
You do like
and I like the weight. I like the weight. Yeah, I just did once or a couple sets of those and went, I'm sticking with the Bitter Creek because I do like the weight. I do like the bulk of it a lot.
Okay, cool. As you can see here, you can, the way the kit is, you can do them with the brakes, and so you have a more prototypical operation. With Bitter Creek, you do not have the brake detail. With BTS, you do have the brake detail. Brass is a good, it'll last a long time. They are a pain to put together, I understand, for other people. This is the typical one you see in the U.S. military railroads in the Eastern theater of the war. This type you see on all sorts of, you see it on U.S. military railroads, rolling stock, but you see it in photos of other lines rolling stock. And basically you'll see it's missing some of this detail inside here. All the, these are supposed to be rubber springs, I believe, not canister springs. It does also offer in brass a couple of Archbar style trucks. This is very similar to what Tom uses. Again, the Bitter Creek are going to be easier to use. These also come with trucks, with brakes, shoes that you can put on if you want to. Bill does not offer trucks in N scale or O scale. Bitter Creek does not offer N scale or O scale trucks either at this point. Now, in talking with Bill, I put a quote in here. He says, Precision Scale has a nice O scale Archbar truck with a 4'6" wheelbase. It will fit the early area nicely, and he also uses some Athearn Archbar trucks that are a more modern time frame. So in my research, I haven't found much out there for O-scale trucks right now. Charlie, have you found anything since we last talked or anything?
Primarily just the stuff that Dave Schneider offered on SMR.
Mm-hmm.
But so I got a fair number on the shelf to use, but I haven't found anything new.
Okay.
DC?
Yeah.
DC, there's some O-scale Archbar trucks offered by Weissman Model Services.
Weissman models, I'm going to make a note here.
And also Atlas O as an Archbar truck.
Okay. I'll have to look that up, and I'll add it to the information. Thank you. I appreciate that, David. I have to say, because most of my experience, virtually all of my experience with Civil War modeling is HO scale. I have to do, Bill makes the finest brake wheels that are out there. They are just the finest. I use the buy the Tichy Train 4-2-pack brake wheel sets. I replace the Tichy Train plastic brake wheels with those from BTS because they're just a nicer casting. And I also sign line, he makes O-scale U.S. military railroad decals. Now, Panamint Models is run by Eric Kops, and there's a connection here to his Shapeways store. These are 3D plastic prints. He offers the greatest variety of trucks in HO scale. He also offers them an N scale, which Joel, I think, will talk about a little later. They don't come ready to, they don't, well, here's what I do. They come like this now. The cost of cost of the plastic here is cheaper than if you ordered them two separate units. So that was actually for a cost reduction. This is a B&O railroad style of truck that was used quite a lot in the 1850s. Okay, got a wood beam. He also offers, this is a live spring truck, produced in the 1840s through the 1860s. These are the trucks that I actually broke trying to get things in and out and had to repair. But they work really good. He recommends 33-inch wheel sets. The length of your axle becomes crucial in your wheel set. Should be 1 inch or less. Okay. If you do it more than 1 inch, you can run into problems. Now, I wick in a really thin super glue to the truck. I would cut it off, and then I wick in really thin super glue, and that helps to add to the integrity of the trucks. It makes it easier when I'm painting. He also offers another form of another style of live spring trucks. This one has a longer wheelbase, and it's designed if you wanted to put it under a car which had a 36-inch wheel rather than 33-inch, or if you were going to, it's for European modelers, you know, if you had larger flanges on your wheels. Okay.
DC, quick question. So when you say you use super glue, you mean you soak the whole thing in super glue, or you paint the whole thing?
Yeah, I actually will take my super glued bottle and I'll put a drop there and a drop there. Okay, and then I'll flip them over and do a drop on the other side and let that spread out. Okay, then I usually use a just a sewing needle that I've sanded the head down enough so that the needle forms a groove in it, and I'll put my super glue in it. I take a shot glass and turn it upside down, put a drop of super glue in that. Then I'll put a drop in each of these where the wheels bearings are. And then I'll go over the rest of the thing with a drop of super glue. Okay. Again, initially with this and this, it doesn't matter that much because it actually really wicks into this stuff.
Okay.
You know, then you think about the early printers that were dot matrix. Remember what some of us old timers, what those used to look like? These are actually little mini dots that are stuck to each other. So
Right.
they're very porous. Okay. This type is a type of truck, wood beam truck, used widely in the during the Civil War era. Here's a closer look at one. Now with these trucks, all of them come with the brakes on the hangers. So in the past, what I've done is I just nipped them here and then sanded them down. I actually sand off the brake hanger detail. And that's a little bit because I'm anal retentive. So they can take a little longer to do that. And I do that actually before I apply the super glue. Okay. But these can be, can be used on any type of rolling stock. Okay. Which one's this? U.S. military railroad style truck used in the 1860s and 70s. Looks very much like are very similar to the BTS style, except these are 3D prints. It's very cool because he offers a California style truck, which is a different type of Archbar truck. And it's actually seen here, I think is this Chattanooga, Tom?
Nashville.
Nashville. Yeah, under an Adams Express agency car. They actually use this truck. So the trucks, the prints, I should say, are not cheap, but they are. I like the detail in them.
Yeah, I just bought 8 sets. I think it was 2, 4, 6, 8, and it was $53. Yep.
Plus shipping.
Right, another 8.
Yeah. Okay. Then he offers some other Archbar trucks. This is a Cleveland style short. Now the brakes are on the inside of the truck. Okay. He also offers them another style of Cleveland where the brakes are hung outside the truck.
Wow.
Okay. And unlike some of the other manufacturers, he offers period appropriate passenger trucks, such as this. Now, this type of truck was offered. Oh, sorry. You can see them from about 1850 through about 1875. And if you want to see a prototype of this truck, you could, I guess, you go to the Nevada State Railroad Museum, or go to their site online and look for their car number 9. It actually uses a pair of these trucks. Okay. He also offers some other for people modeling more than just the Civil War period. I know we have modelers out there who do that. Like this pair of trucks is actually from the 1880s rather than 1860s era. But he also goes back earlier, because here's a pair of Eaton and Gilbert trucks. These were run in the, I think, beginning in the 1840s. So if you have earlier passenger cars that you want to run on your layout, these would be good to use with that. Again, you'd want to take off some of the brake details. A lot of the trucks that he offers, and again on the blog you can see it, they come in, you can get them so with like a 2-pack, so you can do 1 car, 4-pack, so you can do 2 cars, 8-pack, so you can do 4-pack, so you can do 2 cars, 8-pack, so you can do 4 cars,
Right.
and some of them 16 packs. Okay, the cost, if you're going to do a number of cars, the cost, if you get to the larger quantities, the cost per car goes down. Okay. Someone else is another Shapeways provider. He offers prints. I've got some on order, and hopefully they'll ship out sometime next week. It's been about 3 weeks so far. These are a copy of a Harlan and Hollingsworth truck. They look very similar to some of the Panamint models trucks, but he offers some kind of interesting. He only offers them in enough to do 1 car at a time. Okay, and they're about 13 some dollars per car, but you can get one, you order it and it comes with and without the brakes, so you don't have to mess with the end detail. Or you can buy it where you get 2 with brakes, or you can buy it where you get 2 without brakes. So he has those going there. Joel's going to talk more about N scale trucks. Tom, did you want me to continue to the next section on Lincoln pin couplers, or do you want to talk more?
Yeah, you might as well. The one thing I will say, I looked up what are the trucks I use from Bitter Creek, and if you want a wood beam, the T22 is best for our era, and if you want an arch bar, the T30 for arch bar. T22 for wood beam, T30 for arch bar.
Okay.
So go right into the couplers. You might as well.
Okay, let me HO scale couplers. I don't usually talk this much in the course of a day. Okay. There's keep in mind that with what I'm going to say, I'm going to be focusing on Lincoln pin couplers, but it's your railroad and you can use whatever couplers you want to use on it. They work just fine. You'll see that the old Mantua, Bachmann, AHM cars used to come with the traditional horn hook couplers. Now I know the Mantuas and I'm sure the Bachmann come with knuckle style couplers. Group member Don Ball, who models 1895, uses Katie couplers number 58s and number 711s. So here's a picture of the number 58 with the centering spring. You can buy them in bulk packs. Here's a picture of a number of 711 and another dimension. And this is, you can also get basically the 711 in a kind of rust colored plastic under their 713 number. If you're going to use,
hang on a second. Hang on, DC. Question, George?
No, I was just going to add that KD within the last 2 years started doing a scale HON3 knuckle coupler. So instead of these thin plastic like the 713 and the 714, I just don't remember the number off the top of my head. And of course, I know that because of our Blackstone model stuff, but they're a little thicker and they look a little bit more like a coupler as opposed to like that, where the 714 is a real thin plastic and it just kind of separates that little, I don't know how you want to call it. It actually works more like the 58 and 158 scale knuckles, but they're a little bit scaled down for HON3.
okay. So the thing I recommend is what George just said, is that if you're going to use knuckle couplers, because they're easier to operate than the Lincoln pin, go with narrow gauge couplers if you can. That they look better on this old time smaller rolling stock. Okay, so Lincoln, and as I'm going through this, it's your railroad. You can run with whatever couplers you want. Okay. One of the things, I'll get into this part later. Okay. This type of coupler, called Alexander Iron Horse Miniatures. These are the types of couplers that Tom uses on his layout. They're basically a white metal casting with white metal links and white metal pins and a metal link. And they operate with springs. They can fit into a number 4 Katie coupler pocket. Those are what Tom likes. Also, LeBron Matthews in our group, who's done a lot of this modeling, uses them.
I think the more current ones are in brass.
Okay, well, I have not found any images of the current ones.
Okay.
Okay. Here's what Tom was courteous enough to send me a few photos over the past week. He's laughing because I'd asked for one, and then he'd send it to me, and I'd ask for another. Then I'd ask for another. So this is one of the Alexander type couplers mounted on one of his Mantua freight cars. You'll notice how it's hanging low here. That's because you got a lot of, they allow for vertical movement, and also there's lateral or side to side play in the links. And that's important, especially if you're navigating tighter radii curves. I used all your pictures, Tom. And this shows, notice there's a slight difference in, these are the draw heads, this part, and this part here are the draw heads. The links coupling them together, and then you got your pins, okay? The draw heads are not quite at the same level, but you can see here how the style of coupler allows for slight variations.
DC, if you go up to the photo above it, you'll notice the car on the right, it's coming like right out of the beam, and the other one's coming below the beam. Looking through the photos, you'll see these. Some of the cars, the draw heads coming right from the base of the car, and others come from beneath it. So that'll lead to what I created later on, which I found was prototypical, that DC will get into in a second.
Okay. So Alexander, Highballer, I've got couplers that I've got purchased that have the Highballer's name on them. If you look in the lower left-hand corner here, they look exactly like the Alexander style couplers. They also use the springs. They have the same time links and everything in there. I have not used these couplers, but to me, they look exactly like the Alexanders.
Yep.
If you have an old Highballers used to produce different kits, like some of their passenger equipment, these are the couplers that you would get in those kits. Colonial Castings, at one time at the hobby shop up there by the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania in Strasburg, I picked up a packet of Lincoln pin couplers by Colonial Castings. I could not for the life of me find them when I was trying to put this together, but again, they look very similar to the Alexander style couplers. Okay. Precision Scale is another manufacturer of couplers. Now, the ones I've been talking about, we're talking primarily of mounting them on a rolling stock, but Precision Scale makes couplers that you can mount on the tender of your car. You'll notice that you have two different heights here.
Yeah, there's one that they make that has 3 different heights, which I use.
Yes.
Because my cars are not all NMRA standard same height. So those have become integral for me.
Okay. Let's see, here it is. It's hard to tell from here, but this is one of those that Tom was just talking about. They also have one that, actually this isn't, because this one has open-sided. So you have several different places. I got this one from Al Mueller. They also make this. Now, this coupler right here is the closest to scale of any HO scale draw head you're going to find that's out there. Okay, it's the closest to scale.
Right.
Let's see, get down here. Okay. Here is, this coupler over here is a little smaller than the Alexander couplers. It's from the now defunct Keyport Car and Foundry. So unless someone's interested in buying the ones I still have left, you can't get them. And this is on the left here is the Precision Scale coupler I was just talking to you about. Now this happens to be a wood car. This is actually on, I think, an old Red Ball kit. Let's see. Oh, I don't know what I was going to say. I used to do these couplers. I would drill out the holes here to allow a straight pin to go in and out. And then I would also take a Dremel tool and one of those little kind of carving attachments, the tiniest ball they had, and just to clean out the inside. And then I made my own drawbars. Okay. I went from using pins to using lift rings, diesel engine lift rings. And I've seen photos on the prototype cars. I couldn't find any for this presentation, but here's a broken off one from my collection. Now, what's interesting is that in a lot of the photos, you'll actually see the hole here there was a chain running from the link and was bolted onto the car body. And having worked one summer for the Chicago Northwestern Railroad, I can tell you that most individuals working for the railroad do not want to carry unnecessary height or weight, with them. And so I can see how links, which weigh, a few pounds a piece, could easily get mislaid in the weeds beside the roadbed, especially if the conductor had pissed off the brakeman. Yeah. Okay. So these are some of my custom-made drawbars, and these are the pins. These are brass pins. Do not use, if you go this route, do not try the plastic pins. The brass pins will work fine. Put them in a little bit of the bluing solution. Basically, I take a piece of brass wire. I have a pliers with, without teeth, just flat jaws, and I squeeze each end. Then I drill the hole, and then I take normally an emery board, and I just kind of sand around to make sure it's oval. As you can tell down here, you do have a certain amount of adjustment you can make with these, that there can also be a certain amount of breakage. Okay. Here's a picture showing two of my custom built cars connected with this system. The length of these that I based this on is the same as the links that come with the Alexander couplers. I like to be able to get between the cars. Now, I only use these couplers on period unit trains. Okay. For example, this car is designed to carry oil barrels in it. And this is actually a wood car, which would be stacked on there. An aerial view of the same. Okay, now I have to say that I only use these on unit trains because where am I here? This photo here, I lost two of the pins. One of them is here somewhere. If you can see it, let me know. Okay, the other one went flying on the floor. So, and it took me a good number of expletives deleted to get the two cars coupled. So again, I only run them on unit trains. So I do not have to couple and uncouple them. Okay. Get back to the presentation here. Not Prescott Hoppies, Comstock stock. This was, you might find these someplace online. They are cast metal. They're the same as the precision scale designed for narrow gauge. They came with an end beam and links or drawbars, I should say, and you can see the straight pins that were used for the pins. Okay, they are another of the defunct companies, but you may come across them at a train show or online on eBay or something. That's where I think I got these from. Again, they're no longer available, and they're the same size as those small precision scale ones. So you might think twice before putting a bid on them, and make sure that you have a unit train you want to run. Okay. Wiseman Model Service, he used to offer a number of HO scale Lincoln pin couplers. I do not have any of his, and I cannot find them either on his website or on eBay right now. So I don't know if he's producing them or not. I did not get in touch with him. Prescott Hobbies.
DC,
Yes.
on Wiseman, he also has a, he's on eBid now, EBID. He was having a lot of problems with eBay and stuff like that, so for costs. So he also has that site. I don't know if they're on there or not, but just to let you know that he has that site also.
Okay, thank you.
Tom, that was EB.
ID,
EBID. Okay, thanks.
eBid.
Yep.
For Wiseman.
So you can look at that also.
What was that other place? Tom, what was the other place you mentioned?
I
Which what?
mentioned. Oh,
I'm not understanding if there's questions for me.
I was wondering, you said eBid. Was there a second company you mentioned?
No, that's well, I said eBay because he was having problems with eBay. So he went over to eBid. I don't know how much is there. I haven't been there for a little bit of time. Still on eBay and his own website.
Well, selling on eBay has gotten expensive, I know. These are the couplers that George was telling us about. The photos are directly from their site, so when I actually click on them to make them larger, they actually come out smaller. They make them in this kind of black color. You can see brass pins, metal links. The pins and links look like they're the same size as the Alexander couplers. Yeah. And he offers them also in a smoother plastic. They are a drop in. What does he say on his site? They says compatible with popular coupler centering devices such as the Katy copper centering springs. Okay. One thing in this last couple of images, I want to see how closely they are coupled these together. And here, I prefer a longer length, so there's a little more spacing between there.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons. It's easier to couple and uncouple the cars, and it allows more play if you're going around tight curves. Okay, because if you're going around tight curve right now, those two draw heads are going to be bumping into each other. If you have the cars spaced further apart, you're going to have more play and more bending between the cars allowed.
That's true, but keep in mind that the coupler pocket also allows for rotation too.
Okay.
So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the draw head will give to some degree. Right.
Okay. Okay. So this is West Side. The only information I have on them is that I got this at some place on a train show or on eBay. I'm not able to find any more information on this. There's couplers in there that required assembly, enough to do one car. On the back of the package, it's got Russ Simpson, Smith Flat, California, and zip code printed on it. If anybody has any information on these couplers, I'd be interested in hearing about it. But I'll just let you know that it's probably easier going with any of the other couplers than these, because they do require assembly. There's a top section and bottom section that have to be glued together. So couplers that I use are the old Grantline couplers. Grantline, their product line was purchased by San Juan Models. And if you go to my blog post, you can actually click on that and go directly to the page. These are, again, designed for O scale, but they are the smallest HO scale couplers out there. And I'll show you something later comparing the coupler sizes. This is for a Porter 8-ton. I use these on my passenger cars. Okay, you get enough to do 2 cars per pack. This is one that I've installed on one of my first class passenger cars. And there's an underview. Now, if I had to do it again, I would take and I would extend this pad out here, because these pads I glued on. I would extend it out here, and I would recess this closer to the car body.
Right.
It would look better. But these do allow for the lateral play as well as some vertical play just in the coupler itself. He also makes even though it says Grantline on here, if you go on the back of the pack, it says San Juan Models. So when he bought everything from Grantline, he bought all their stuff and he just ran his information on the back of the package. But this style of coupler is kind of a drop-in for your regular coupler pocket.
DC, hang on 1 second. Roger's got his hand up.
Yes, Roger. You're on mute, Roger.
Yeah, my favorite status. My apologies. It looked like a B&O car you did, your passenger car. You have like whatever horn. No, the other one, the passenger car, your first class.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, where did you get the what looks like a double horn thing on the top there?
This right here?
Correct.
Okay. This, let's see, what's the car number for? Oh, shoot, I can't find the car number on this. Actually, this is probably an old, don't shoot me, AHM Lincoln funeral car.
Oh yeah, you need to be shot. That's what I'm trying to.
Back when they used to be a lot cheaper, I picked up a few of them. I've done the same installation. So this is AHM. Their regular passenger cars and the Lincoln funeral train car have the exact same shell here.
Right.
Now, what I recommend now is you get the Bachmann shell, and you can go to Panamint Models, and you can get a roof similar to this with the monitor style roof if you want to. The air vent's going to be slightly smaller, okay? But Bram Models, I think it's Bram Models. I'll have to look it up, and I'll let you know.
No problem. I didn't mean
You
to
can
get you
buy
off track.
these. There's an eBay, not eBay, a Shapley store where you can buy these, just buy these themselves.
Cool.
So you could take any car you wanted to and put them on there. What I've seen from the images, they look good. It's part of that order. I'm still waiting on to see what they actually look like. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. These are drop-in. Sometimes you have to, let's see. This one? No. Let's go back to this one. Can you see the hole right here?
Yep.
Okay. Sometimes that hole is bigger than the little nub that you normally would put on a regular coupler if you're using a knuckle coupler. And so sometimes you have to put a bushing in these.
Right.
I remember where I got my bushings right now, but here's one installed. This is an old NDC roundhouse kit that is just dropped in, and there's what it looks like on the kit. And this, I was using the kit one, so you can see how this extends out reasonably far from the coupler. Again, you do have tighten up just enough so you have the lateral side to side as well as the vertical play in the draw head. And then this is the coupler that I like. Oh, let me go back. The couplers I was just talking about, you get enough couplers in there to do 2 cars.
Right.
So, this is my favorite. It's designed for, again, 0 and 3 scale, but they are use them for HO scale. They're the smallest operable coupler that's out there. Let's get out of this to see that. Okay. Yeah. Now, what I do can't leave well enough alone. So what I do, Al Mueller used to do this too. I take a hobby knife, number 11 blade, and I'll go like 3 cuts down here, 3 cuts here, versus the knife, 3 cuts here, 3 cuts here, reverse flip the coupler over, and I do the same thing on the other side. Usually somewhere in the process of doing 3 cuts in each of them. When I say cuts, just slightly pressing down, not trying to go all the way through. The center spring here pops out. Then I take a square needle file and clean off any residue here. And then put in a piece, 0.1 by 0.1 piece of evergreen styrene. I glue it in. You can use tester cement or anything like that. I like to use styrene because if there are any defects in there, you can exert some light pressure with the pliers here and here, and it just kind of makes a real nice one piece there. After it dries, I drill a hole in the center. That allows me to pass whatever type of screw I'm using to mount the coupler to the car body on.
Jesus.
It may sound like a lot of work, but
it does.
Okay. This is what it looks like.
Wow.
An installation on there. One of the things with the Grantline couplers, you have to take a hobby knife and maybe some files and clean off any flashing from the castings, especially towards the end for the Grantline couplers I had. As he was getting older, and his wife was doing more of the business than he was able to do, the quality of his castings was deteriorating. The quality of the San Juan's much better now, the new ones that are available. You can also see here I've glued on a shim here on this car. Another interesting thing to note, see there's no detailing underneath the car. I've gotten to the point where at one time this car, I had it all glued together, and that's why it's kind of rough where I had to cut the original floor out. I had all the bracing and everything and all the styrene so you could see the floorboards and everything, and no one's ever going to appreciate that, and that's not a contest model. So I just use sheets of styrene now underneath there. There's what it looks like on the same car. That's okay. This is a picture of the 3 types of couplers offered through San Juan models. This is their number 147. This is the same coupler. What I've done here, you'll notice I sanded down the
flange.
face to more closely represent this. They come with 2 styles of links. Okay, I prefer the longer link. I do use their links as well as metal ones. I like the spacing between the cars, and it's easier for me to couple and uncouple cars. These are their 158, the ones for the Porter ones. They actually show the pins with the circular things there. If you want to get retentive and put a chain between there and your car body, you could do that. And this is the ones I prefer. Here it just shows it with the hole drilled. Now with some of them, I actually have a very small countersink bit that I got from my dad after he passed away. And I can use flathead screws, and sometimes I need to be able to do that under cars in certain situations. What's the next slide? Okay, this is a comparison of the different couplers I've been talking about. Over here on the left is an Alexander scale coupler. Okay, of course, these are only ones that I actually have these couplers. Okay, this is the one from the now defunct Keyport Car and Foundry, and this is the same coupler we saw in the previous image from I'm having a senior moment here.
San Juan.
San Juan, thank you. Thank you. Okay, what do we got next? This is showing, this is one of those precision scale couplers, again, shown with a Keyport Car and Foundry coupler. Now, to do the pins, you don't do it with your fingers, you use tweezers, okay? These are a couple different, tweezers that you use. My favorite are the ones in the center. The ones below are designed for those dealing with like pearls and beadwork and stuff. Kind of cool because they have a little pocket here to add stability. These I found, I just got them from a Micro Mart, but I like these better. My experience showed that. These are tweezers that we use on Tom's layout. Thank you for the photo, Tom. This one's cool because it actually has a flashlight built in. Now, where do you get these tweezers from, Tom?
I was hoping, Ultratech. I think it's printed on there. Ultratech General.
Oh, it's General.
Ultratech. Yeah.
Okay. So if it's a general tool, you might be able to get it at Harbor Freight.
It's great because it's dark in there sometimes, and that light goes right onto the pin, and it's easier to identify.
Cool. And then I've used
Time out. 1 second. 1 second. Roger's got his hand up again. What's up,
yes,
Roger?
Sorry. Yeah. Senior moment, Tom. Relax. I'm right there with you, bud. Here we go.
Oh.
Okay. Now through my presentation, I've talked about links and drawbars. And what's the difference? Okay. Well, they both serve the same function. Okay. Here's a prototype link from the B&O Railroad, and here's a drawbar. Okay. The difference is the link looks like a link in a chain, and a drawbar is literally a bar made out of iron with holes cast and then in the end of each of them. Now it's interesting, I was trying to see if I could find a prototype photo of a drawbar for this presentation. They still make drawbars for trains today. You can go and look them up, and you could, if you had a 1-to-1 scale train, you could get a drawbar for it. Okay. let's see, I wanted to talk about it. There's other individuals have used different things for their pins. Okay, some people just use regular old staples from your desktop stapler. Some have used you could also make those type of staples just by bending a piece of wire. Some people, such as Al Mueller, used to make little L's out of wire, and then he'd insert them. I don't have a good example of it. He'd insert them through the car so a link is permanently affixed to one end of the car. Usually with Al's cars, you'll see it was on the brake end. And then once it's affixed, he bent it slightly to prevent it from popping out. And I can attest to how well that simple system worked to keep those in, because I got some of Al's B&O pot hoppers, and I tried to straighten those links and pull them out, and I destroyed every one of the draw heads trying to get those pins out. They do work very, very well, though, in terms of that. Tom also usually keeps a link in one end of his rolling stock. Correct, Tom?
Yeah.
And it just speeds up your coupling, uncoupling time,
Right.
Makes it easier. It's good, especially if you have guest operators who haven't worked with Lincoln pin couplers before. Let's see, what else is there? The late Harold Minkwitz, and I'm not going to go to his site, but he made his own operational Lincoln pin couplers. Were a hell of a lot of work, but go to my blog, go down, click on this link, it'll take you to a site, that page. Now, how long that page is going to be up, I don't know, because I heard a rumor that they might be coming down eventually. So
He does great work.
he does fantastic. He was very inspirational. I do like the longer links for the space between cars.
Yeah.
With some of them, you can actually almost get your cars at a 90-degree angle to get each other. So if you're using tighter radius curves,
Yep.
like some of my cars, my radius, the ones you can't see are actually 15-inch radius, and you need to be able to get the cars to go around that. Okay, Tom, I will do. Draw head height, I'm about done here. I'm anal retentive, and I use an NMR gauge, and the hole in the draw head I have to be able to see it in there. Now, sometimes it's a little up or a little down, but I have to be able to see it in there. If I can't see it in there after I get the coupler mounted, I use shims. If you get a BTS kit, it comes with shims. The great thing is that they are cut, out of a carrier sheet of really thin stock, and you use the shims that come there with the kit, and then you use the stock, and you can cut it down the side to your width, and then you just cut your own shims out of it. Okay, make your own wood shims. I've also made them out of various sizes of styrene. Tom uses an S-link to help even out any differences in drawbar heights. Now, Tom paints his S-links red. One of the things is Tom has various stations along his layout, has little canisters. They have links and pins in there, and he mixes the regular links with these S-links. It's easier than operators trying to fumble between different canisters of links. And it's cool because if you need an S-link, you can see it because it's red in there. Okay. There are links available, or drawbars, I should say, available from Precision Scale. You can put on your pilot of your car. They used to be made by Chemtron. Precision Scale took them over. The ones on the right here are actually some I got from Deport and Car and Foundry. And this is a closer look at them. Let's see if I have anything else to say. Coupler shims. Sometimes to adjust the heights, I will take and I'll remove the trucks and I will sand down the cross pieces, the bolsters. Except when you do that, you have to make sure that your clearance here is enough to allow the wheels not to hit any of your truss rods or the frame, underbody of your car. And so I think that's it for now. More details on the site.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm going to stop the share and let other people talk for a while, because if nothing else, I'm hoarse.
Anybody have any questions for DC or comments? No.
I want to let everybody know I appreciated your input and new leads to follow up on.
As detailed as always, man. That was great. Thank you so much for putting the time in to present all that. That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, excellent, Tom.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to go into weights, and Joel will join me a little bit in this. So I'm just going to show you a slide that has what the standard NMRA indicators are, and then we'll look at by scale, look at some types of weights you can put in, and just the weighing of the cars, things to consider, and some finished models. So here's what NMRA suggests. I added the grams just so that that's pretty much what I use. I don't use ounces. So you can see the differences between O, HO, and N.
Can I add some?
Yeah.
Okay. Tom, LeBron, and I use grams. Grams is a much more refined unit of measurement. So for example, you could have a ½ ounce, but your little ½ ounce bar can vary differently if you weigh the same little bit of lead in grams and ounces.
Right.
That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah. So this is what came from Charlie, and it gives you an idea of the difference in particular between SMR and, for now, at least BTS. And those are all metal cars, right, Charlie, from SMR?
That's right.
Which is why they're so heavy, and it's tough to get a string of cars for one locomotive to pull. I guess the cool thing about that is you can double head them, and that would look cool, pulling a string of cars. And with respect to HO, when you purchase them, this is a typical range of weight for a BTS car, a Mantua ready to run, and an IHC, which are the primary cars that I use. And in the NMRA, for example, a Mantua by an NMRA standard would be 2.5 ounces plus a ½ ounce per inch. The cars are about 4 inches long, which would be like 4.5 ounces, which is a lot of weight, especially for one of those little generals to pull. So I do not go by that at all. So when I reweigh them, in general, the BTS flat cars are between 29 and 35 grams. And this allows for loads, whether it's artillery or equipment or what have you. So I don't weigh them to the max. The cattle cars, same thing. I keep it on the low end. The box cars, however, are weighed between 40 to 45 grams. And I put loads in those in addition to metal, go ahead, metal trucks. And then with Mantua, they don't need any loads. But what I do with all the Mantuas is I pull the weights out. As a matter of fact, I've stacked those and wrapped them with duct tape, and those become weights for my models. If you need to square something up or hold something down flat, I've repurposed those. And then there you have it for the IHC cars. Now with Joel, this is what he shared with us. And Joel, you want to speak to that at all, or anybody have any questions about that?
Yeah, I can slide in on it. The Microtrains cars come pre-weighed and really make Civil War railroading easy to get into. They usually run one run about once or twice a year. They'll have a series come out of their American Civil War. However, their large run, of course, was during the during the bicentennial, which that was really a marvelous time to get into N-scale Civil War. There's a lot of talk about BTS, so I will tell you, if you're an N-scaler and you want BTS, you go to Republic Loco Works, because Republic Loco Works, which is a craftsman kit out in Washington State, license bills the BTS car, makes the BTS cars in N-scale.
Oops.
So that's really all it is. And so almost anything that BTS makes in their Civil War series can be ordered from Marshall Thompson, and that's Republic Loco Works. There are a lot of printed cars that have now come out. There's a little talk about Panamint, and Panamint originally started out as an N-scale guy. And then DC talked to Eric and got stuff a little bigger. But he still has an N-scale. He makes a lot of box cars. He makes the Pennsylvania 1855 car with the modernized, with the monitor roof. And he makes the B&O 1856 car with the flat roof. And I weigh those out at 28 to 32. They come fully detailed on the interior. I usually take my weights and run them down the center of the car between the seats.
Mm.
I use, what I do there is I have been known to take some fishing lead weights and tap those on my anvil into a nice, small, thin line and set those in. And that's how I get them up. I also, he makes his printed trucks use the same size wheels as Microtrains. Microtrains also produces 33-inch metal wheel sets. And Fox Valley also makes 33-inch wheel sets. I suspect from looking at them, they're from the same factory in China.
Mm.
But I substitute those in to the Microtrains trucks and into Eric's. They work very nice. The metal ones work nice. Those trucks are quite robust. I have actually broken one or two of those and ACC'd them back together again carefully with a squaring, with my little squaring weights, and they come out just fine. And also there is a Brawa US prototype car, which was a car which was actually exported to Germany, and they had hundreds of them, and they stayed on the line until after the First World War. So they're routinely produced by Brawa. There is a passenger car and with two different passenger cars with different window spacings and a baggage car available. And those I end up reweighting to about 28 grams when I switch them over. I will slip in my coupler right here, if that's okay, Tom.
Yeah.
I use Microtrains, American
You want me to
Civil
stop
War.
the share?
Huh?
Is this something that you wanted to
It's
share?
real simple. You just go to the Microtrain site and you go to their trucks. They have a Civil War era truck and their Civil War era couplers are available. They are Delrin. They are very easy to use, and I recommend the Delrin trucks from micro trains, if you're, and coupler, I really recommend their couplers. If you're going to operate, they are a pseudo. In other words, they look like a link and pin coupler,
Yep.
but they just clip in and unclip. Very easy to use, look good, work well.
Yep.
I just have a little box when you uncouple when you're operating, you just put them in the box and have the train move on down.
Yeah, they really are effortless. They are good. Yep.
Yeah, they're just super. Okay, that kind of finishes my my in-scale talk.
Okay.
Anybody questions? You notice if you were looking, my cat decided it was a Zoom, so it was time to hop in my lap.
He loves you.
Yeah, but she's a real, Miss Whiskers is a sweetheart. Okay.
Right. So on the average, this is what I would glean from this, when you're looking to look for a finished number for weighing your cars, that's approximations that you can count on, or at least begin to test for yourself. And then these are some of the, and others are welcome to chime in if you know something about the weights that are available. These here are for the Pine Car Derby or whatever it's called. They're like little 2-ounce sections that you can cut, or it comes in a strip. And then of course, Micro Mark makes these, and these have an adhesive backing, which is helpful. The molded lead weights are fabulous for putting in the locomotive. Matter of fact, I take a chunk of this and I roll it up in my fingers and I put it on the ceiling of the cab, and that looks like the canvas that they would have had on the back of that to drop down in cold weather. So it actually contributes to the prototype look as well. Also, for inside the cars, I've used, barrels and crates and what have you from Musket Miniatures and Rustic Rails, Staten, any metal figures. And it also adds to the look and the appeal from a modeling perspective when you can have the doors open and see inside. These are just loose weights. I mean, it's amazing. These are all from cars that I have taken apart because they were too heavy. And again, if you don't want to use them in your cars, they're a great added weight just by gluing these together into different heights or weights for your modeling to hold things down or together. I use the scale.
Tom, let me chime in real quick.
Please.
I have just become aware of a product that's going to help revolutionize scale modeling when it comes to weighting. The product is called Serobend, and it melts at 150 degrees, or you can get the low temperature, which melts at 117. So you can pour it directly into any plastic models and it doesn't distort or melt the plastic.
SCRA?
CERROBEND.
Yep.
Serobend.
I'm going to be doing a segment on Ken Patterson's What's Neat. Serobend.
When you doing that? Next month?
We're going to be doing a segment for Patterson. The new block is getting here. It should be here Tuesday. And so as soon as I get to play with it for 5 minutes, I'm going to go experiment with it and shoot some video. So it's show, but it's something to look at. Cero Metals, I think it was called, or something. I found mine on eBay. You can get them in a quarter pound stick. I paid $10 for the 158 degree temperature. And then I just paid $50 for the 117, but it's a 1 pound weight, and it just melts. You just take your soldering iron, touch it, and drip it into the plastic model that you're putting it into, and it forms, and it doesn't distort the plastic.
Oh,
wow. It's a tough thing. It's a tough thing to get over mentally, pouring molten metal into your plastic model, but but it works incredibly well. I got the 158 stuff this past week and started playing with it and went, oh my God, this is a life changer. And so I bought the 117 because, I mean, like I said, it's a lot more expensive.
Right.
But it'll mold to whatever form you want to do. So if you want to create your own mold and pour it in, and then just take that, pop it out. Like, for example, these 440s that I was working on, it's going to be perfect for fitting it into little tiny places.
Wow. Can you give us, or at least me, a heads up when you think that'll be played
Yes.
on Ken's late? Great.
I can do a quick thing for you guys too here soon, in the next few weeks, quite frankly, because I'll have my latest shipment to be here Tuesday. So anytime after that, I can just do it right here in front of us.
Cool. All right, great. Thank you, George. That'd be fun to see. Yeah, that is a little bit freaky, pouring lead into plastic, but I look forward to that. So, yeah.
Charlie has a question.
Who has?
Charlie.
Go, Charlie.
Yeah, Brother Harold, the Moose, who some of y'all met, he gave me about a hockey puck size piece of, it may be a different company than you're talking about, George, but we've had it for about 10 years, but have never needed it. But it's an ultra, I mean, you can melt it on top of a radiator and then pour it. But we have a problem with too much weight but I don't have it. It's upstairs in the train room, but I'll post that to the group what brand this other is too. But I think it's pretty pricey. At least it was 10 years ago. But
one low cost alternative that I found is that Amazon sells 1/32 inch lead sheets. So
that's
they sell it in a
meltable.
roll, and you got to flatten it out. But it's pretty cheap, and if you got Prime, it ships free. So.
And it's lead.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Cool. All right. So that's great. I look forward to seeing some of that, and I'll make sure that we get George lined up for one of the future meets. So with respect to weighing, yeah, this is a micro scale or micro mark scale rather, and I put everything on here, and even the parts that you don't see that would be with your kit. This is the scratch build that I'm doing for the group build. And then I get it to the weight I want, so I know exactly what needs to go in there and to get it to the appropriate weight. And for flat cars, the BTS flat cars, I use birdshot buckshot and just put it all over the place with some white glue, and that works fabulous. And this is what the finished car looks like, with a section of sacks that are metal. I think I got those from Musket Miniatures, but it might have been from some other provider. But you can easily enough find these online, and that's just another shot with some Prizer figures. And they're so light, that it really doesn't make that much difference, but it gives it some life, like there's something occurring inside the car. And with the passenger cars, this Mantua, it's already a metal base this has been cut, of course, and extended to its prototype length. And then the figures are everything from Prizer to Model Power. And if needed, I will insert a little bit of weight over the trucks so that it stays stable. So that's pretty much it from weighing, and unless anybody else has anything that they would like to offer as a suggestion or questions.
Let me slip in. Rustic rails on my N-scale sheet. The rustic rails figures when Musket Miniatures, the old Papa's version, went under. Fun and Games bought his rustic rails line.
Yeah.
And they're available from Fun and Games. They are not on his website, so I kind of stuck that back in our file section on the website. And there's one other weight option in N-scale. Micro Trains makes Civil War loads, boxes of hardtack and that, and some lumber loads and some other loads that are available in loads packs that you can find every once in a while. They don't run those too frequently, but those are really nice because they have a hayload, which of course is the largest amount of what we actually shipped on flat cars in the Civil War is forage. So
Right.
for that, hey, let me slip off now.
Yeah, making the loads is half the fun for me. I'm looking forward to doing a couple of flat cars with the artillery loads. Before you go, DC, let's see, Roger, you had a question. What's the cost of the Bitter Creek trucks? DC, do you know offhand?
They were $7.95 for a pair for most of them. However, he's going through the retooling, so they may come out as more expensive. I had another thing to share with Roger. Okay, can I?
Yep. The one thing I will say too is if you look in your chats, Vince put up the website for eBid if you're interested.
Okay. So Roger, you were asking me about the roof vents. They're
Yeah.
offered by Antebellum Models. It is on Shapeways. And I always recommend if you're buying trucks, never, anything printed, do not use that versatile plastic. Always go with at least the smooth fine plastic detail, or always, it's much more expensive, but the smoothest fine plastic detail. Because you're paying that much money for the detail, I want to be able to see it. But here, look at for $13 plus shipping, you get enough vents to do 4 cars.
Cool.
That'll work. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good. Okay, folks, we are right on time, just about a couple minutes post. Thank you so much. I'll let you know what we'll be doing next. And for the general meet next week, we'll be doing layout updates next Thursday. And for the 2 weeks from today, maybe we'll have George come on and do the experimentation with lead into your plastic cars. So if there's any thoughts, questions, since this is the introductory meet, I'd love to hear what you guys would like to see in the future. So if you have any thoughts now, it's welcome, or you can just send us an email.
Are we going to revisit that 440 guy, the clinic that was going to be given a week ago Thursday? Because you said it was rescheduled or something. And that's, I think, part of why there was light attendance last Thursday.
Was this the one around the historical 440 piece?
I think so.
Yeah, Fred. Well, yeah, that's on hold still. He lost all his information. His computer crashed, and all the research that he had spent months doing is disappeared. So he's back trying to recapture all of that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was
That's
just.
why they created the cloud.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah, for Charlie.
All right, this is primarily for Tom O. and David Borkman. I talked with Dave Schneider. He may, I think he has 4 3-wheel camels, to sell. And he has 2 rail camels to sell in O scale.
Wow.
So I tried to text him during the meeting, but anyway, so he still got these 6 camels to sell. I know that both y'all had. I mean, I know David, you're in O, and Tom, you had said you wanted to do O if you could find some locomotives. But anyway,
David.
Charlie, the name of the guy again who's selling the camels?
yeah, it's Dave Schneider.
Dave has some. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
He he wants to buy a new car. And,
So he's gonna sell one of the camels to do that.
yeah, I know. Yeah. But they're really pretty cool. I mean, some of y'all have driven them on my layout, and they're funny looking beasts. You know, they're so ugly they're cute, sort of thing.
And once these are gone, that's it, right, Charlie?
yeah.
They are not coming back.
Yeah, and these actually, Dave had commissioned them, and you know, he was bringing them through some firm in either Korea, you know, I think it's Korea, and then they had a falling out. There wasn't enough detail in the tender, which it looks pretty good. And so, anyway, those may be available. It'd be fun to see him running.
What's his contacts?
I tell you, if somebody's interested in it, tell me, and I'll tell Dave when we hang up if y'all are interested in it. I don't want to dump it on him yet, but he had said he's planning on selling all of the remaining camels.
Great. So if you're interested in that, contact Charlie and he'll relay it to Dave.
Yeah.
Good.
And
Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah, and hopefully Dave is going to become a more active member in the group. You know, he moved to Florida, and when you switched from Yahoo to our new blog, I think some of us had trouble getting full credentials. You know, we could kind of lurk, but we couldn't participate. You remember that problem?
We had a number of problems. We migrated over.
So he's looking for some help to get through that, because I tell you, he's done a ton of research. I tell you, as far as what trains look like and whatnot, he really is very, very knowledgeable.
Yep. Yeah, he's a resource we want to try to loop back in. Cool.
I will send Dave an email, and with my contact information, I already sent him an invitation to join the group.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I will send him my contact information so we can call and get him squared away.
Great. All right, my friends. Good seeing you. Have a great weekend, and look forward to next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, DC.
Yeah, thanks,
Well,
DC.
thank you.